finally finished the product, as you can see here. Isn't it lovely? Now, a lot of people might think that since I finished the product, there's not much more else to do. Well, the truth of that is that if you think that, then actually you're wrong. A product doesn't finish just once you finished it the way you wanted to see it. Now, while I may have gotten help from primary users and through the design process, they haven't actually seen the final product yet. So, with the final prototype of that sort of stuff. So what I need to do now is just do exactly what it sounds like. I need to go and find I need to take as many interviews as I can, get as much data as I can on what works with the product, what doesn't work on the product. I need to do all sorts of things. I need to take pictures of it in its location, I need to take high quality pictures, and that's the plan for this time. I'm going to talk to my primary users, I'm going to talk to various stakeholders, and most importantly of all, I'm going to talk to various people this is designed for, i.e. customers even. So I needed to make some high quality photographs. I used a photo booth product called Foldio, which would allow me to take very nice pictures of my scene photo frame, having loads of different angles for it. I was able to edit some pictures into and also edit some rotating tables videos. Now there are quite a few of these which you can see in more detail on my website, but here are just a few of them just so you can see what they generally look like. I also re-rendered some 3D models alongside making some quick technical sheets so I could get accurate dimensions for each of the products. Now that I had all this data, I need to do exactly what the title of this episode is for, which is to get user feedback. First things first, I wanted to talk to my primary users, but unfortunately the only one available at this time was Paloma Lee Stevenson, my primary user in charge of the young adult demographic. So what I decided to do was make a quick questionnaire, only 5 questions, with the following questions as you can see on screen. Then I would ask that questioner to get her opinions on it and see if I could formulate any useful information from that. Paloma's answers tended to be that she loved the product in its current state, with majority of her answers either being compliments with a few criticisms, with some key information being that there's no need to limit who could use a product or the demographic, that she would spend anywhere between £50 to £100, and that perhaps a more minimalist design would go well. Now, seeing as how useful these 5 questions had worked with her for all the information I needed, I decided to go about my school, talk to any other primary users I could get a handle on, talk to any stakeholders and a variety of people who had managed to get a hold of all walks of life. And I managed to get these stats for each of the 5 questions, with me resulting in graphs for could you use it, i.e. do you have enough photos for it, that kind of thing. The age range, as in how many people what age range people could use it for, and the minimum age range, i.e. at what age people should start using it at, the location people would use it in, so for example bedroom or kitchen, and the price people would be willing to pay for it. Now this user feedback was super handy, and even got a video with one of my fellow designers on the actual feedback, and this was all super handy, as like I said, while the stats were a bit skewed, and I go into more detail about this on the website too, it seems that I can gather a majority of points. For example, that a majority of users seem to agree that past a certain point, i.e. 16 to 20, anyone above the age would be perfect for the product. And this was excellent, as it suggested I create a product that was accessible for all. This theme of accessibility stayed true with the price, as many people ended up thinking it should be around £40 to £70. And while I haven't calculated the amount it took to make it yet, I should point out that I think this is a fair price, at least when it's weighted more to the 70 side, and I would go somewhere between £55 to £80 if I wanted to make it as cheap as possible, but first I need to see the price of actually making the product. Finally came location, and this was super helpful, as I saw a lot of ideas that supported my own, but I also saw the hallway brought up, i.e. for example, when you walk into someone's house and they have a mantelpiece by the hallway, you could have the product there. And a super huge amount of people talked about how they loved it as a talking piece. Like, for example, someone would come and be like, oh, what's this? Oh, there's my photograph that shows a minute of picture, that kind of thing. Of course, there were a lot of criticisms as well, where you can see more detail here, with varying from size issues and general trends of questions, i.e. what's the logo about, how are the photos stored, what would you do about explicit photos. I also got a lot more personal ideas, that 90% of which I had thought of and were thinking to iterate my further design with, but the confirmation from other users helped build my confidence in these ideas greatly. For example, an app to act as a lock screen for your phone with the same gimmick, some form of options when it comes to coloring, some form of AI to randomize and prioritize photos, and 2 people actually brought up the idea of gifts when it comes to family abroad, which I think is a super useful idea, especially when it comes to this product. Now that I've got all my information for the product with times and feedback, I decided to look with my prime user Plum again after looking through all these statistics I've got, and she was the only one I was able to contact for this secondary interview. Now, the secondary interviews where I looked at all the design criteria I'd laid out with my primary user before, as you can see here. And what this is basically just everything that needs to go right for the product to have been well designed. And now I need to rate each, and now I'm going to rate the product out of 10 for each value. With 10 being a very good positive impact, 0 being a negative impact, and 5 being a average impact for most of them. And I've done an interview with Paloma on the website if you want to see the whole thing. But basically, what she said can be summarized as this. She gave it 76 out of 90 points, so super generous, and it surpasses the mark of 72 to 75, which I consider a well-designed product. With the lowest rating being in safety, with a 7 out of 10 because, well, the product is safe for others, but it's not, the product itself isn't very safe with like water hazards, it not being very secure, several issues with it. Whereas everything else got a range between 8, 9 and 10, mostly with one issue with each. As I said, I go into further detail, but that's it for the Paloma's primary user evaluation. So with that all being said and done, I've now finished the next part of my portfolio. I've got my final product done. I've got feedback from various different people. I've got an evaluation from my primary user, no less, and I've got a score from her. So now all that's left is to look at it myself, look at all the information everyone's given me, i.e. what it could be, and look at everything I wanted it to be, and look at everything it is. And from that, I can properly grade it, so that I can give myself the accurate score that reflects exactly how well my product did. Now with that being said, of course, that's what I'm going to go to later in the next episode. We're going into much further detail about the future of this product, and we can see that right now.